This is the exact method that I use to shade my drawings, and the best part is it's super simple with just 6 steps that I'm going to share with you in this video. It's not revolutionary, but this is just what works for me, so let's jump right into it. Step 1, which is the lights. I'm just using a soft airbrush, going to add some lights onto this ball, which I'm obviously going to be using for the demo. I don't go too crazy, but you can see how good that's looking already. Now it's a bit hard even though it's a soft airbrush, so I'm going to use the blending tool to blend it out a little bit more. And I just want a soft diffuse light coming from the top left or somewhere around there. You don't have to go all the way super light with it. I'm going for like a point which I'm going to gradually get lighter and lighter to. Okay, and I think that looks pretty good. The airbrush makes it really easy, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now step 2 is, you probably guessed it, the shadows. So again, I've also got this on a clipping mask below. Just going to use a soft airbrush, add some shadows on the opposite side. Now this obviously works for anything, not just a ball. I'm just going to add some shadows in the area that's not getting hit by the light. Now, like if you see here, I did a bit much on this top bit, so I can just select a lighter colour and then brush back over, kind of even it out. And now I might have done too much already, but let's see. I'm not perfect, this is just a rough attempt. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Also, you can see how quick this is, especially with the airbrush. Sometimes I try to use a hard brush first and then blend it out, but for now, airbrush is fine when you're doing like a rounded object, because it's all going to be soft anyway. So now step number 3 is ambient occlusion. So you can do this, so ambient occlusion for me is 2 parts. So this is going to be number 1, you choose a really dark, this is not the first step. First of all, you choose a really dark shadow, and I'll brush it onto the bottom like this, in the areas that are just completely devoid of light. So I'll just go here, and now you can see these bits are just not going to be hitting the light at all. So that's why they can be so dark. And then the second part is there'll also be ambient occlusion on the ground, because I'm guessing this ball is going to be touching the ground. So I'll do a new layer here, I'll put it underneath, and I'll do some shadows here, which are really dark. And now, of course, you could do all the other shadows as well, but I'll see if I want to do that. For now, I'll just do that ambient occlusion. And it's the same thing, I can blend it a little bit if it's too... don't feel like it's good. But yeah, ambient occlusion is really powerful. It makes everything, at least in my opinion, it can make a huge difference. Just make the brush a bit smaller. Okay. And I'm not doing it too perfect. Yeah, no, that's not fine. It's hard because it's just the ambient occlusion. I might have to add some shadow as well, all the way in a sec. Okay, yeah, sure. So now step number 3. How many is that? 6. I should have planned it out. Step number 3 is the highlights. So for the highlights, it's basically the same thing. You just choose the even lighter color. And as soon as before the highlights, you might want to do like a kind of in between, depends how much of a gradient you want to do. Actually, screw it, I'll just go straight to the highlights. So then, because I'm doing the highlights, I'll choose a slightly harder brush. You can choose a fully hard brush, like, something like this, and get really sharp, crisp highlights, which is good, especially for like, when it's right at the top. I'll do that, then I'll blend it a little bit, because it's still not that strong. And I think that's okay. Then I'll just make some random patterns and then blend it out. And then somehow, when you use a harder brush, I like how it looks with the highlights. Then I'll choose one more here. It can be a few spots, I guess, just because it's like, that just happens. Maybe I'll do one down here as well, where it's also getting hit, and I'll blend it out because I don't want it to be too strong. That's a bit strong. Okay, perfect. So now, I'll make this a bit bigger. And that's lights, shadows, highlights, ambient occlusion. Then it's going to be cast shadows is step 5. And to do the cast shadow, it'll just be the same thing as ambient occlusion. We just get shadow color and layer it on. And now because we're going to assume this is going to be a hard light source, I'm making a new layer underneath. So I'm going to want some shadows that are like, that's not very even, don't do it like that, that's fine though. Like this, and then what you want is the bits that are, and we'll see why this is happening later for the final step, but the bits that are further away can be slightly lighter, other bits can be slightly darker. Should I do any blending? Maybe I'll do a little bit of blending to the corner if it's like, it might just have a little bit, just some more shadows underneath there. I'm not sure, how about that? That's fine. So yeah, the main focus is just get it opposite direction of the light, cast shadow coming down. That's what I like to do. And then, finally, wait. Make sure you don't like wash out the ambient, oh yeah, I'm trying not to wash out the ambient occlusion. Then my last step would be, first of all, actually no, that's fine. Last step, bounce light. This is the thing that makes like the biggest difference. I think it can help a ton. I really like it when I do it well. So I'll just choose an airbrush, I'll do soft brush, and so let's say imagine the light's coming from the top. Some of it's going to hit like, well, you should draw it out. Yellow, yellow, yellow. So the light's coming from, what the heck? Okay, the light's coming from here. No, it's not. The light's coming from here. Some of it is going to hit this bit, obvious. Some of it, you want to see it. One more time. Okay, the way I do it, some of it's coming from here. Most of it will hit like these spots here. But some of the light will go like here and here. And it'll miss, and then it'll go down to here. Or some of it will get caught on this bit here, which is why it's a bit lighter here. And then the bit that does go here will bounce back up, and then hit this bit here. So then this bit gets lighter, and then a lot of the times this is actually the darkest bit. Well, this bit's pretty dark, this bit's a bit light, this bit's very dark. Pretty much. And then the same thing happens here, it'll bounce like that, go up. And if this grass, if this was like, let's say this was grass, it was green, very green grass. Then this bit might be slightly green as well because the colour gets transferred. Okay, that's it, that's the final step, and that makes a huge difference. So let me try to do it real quick. So, I'll just choose an airbrush, and I'll choose a lighter colour, make sure it's lighter than, yeah, that's fine. Now, I'll just add a bit of lighter areas. Let's say it's here, it's getting hit, so it gets a little bit lighter. Then I'll blend it out, obviously, because I don't want this to be too strong. Yeah. Now, wow, look how much better that looks. At least I think that looks so much better. Might have overdone it a little bit, because you don't want the bounce light to be stronger than the like original light source. But I do think this is one of the most powerful things, and when you get it right, I like bounce light so much. Okay, so there, that's pretty good. And now I'll do a little bit more, maybe here, let's say it gets hit. I might have done it a little bit strong before, so I'll do it a little bit weaker. There. And that is good. Blend it. Okay, perfect. There's the bounce light. That's really good, I really like that. And there it is, that's how I shade my drawings. Actually, bonus tip, step 7. This one I only do sometimes. It wouldn't really appear here, but if let's say this was a yellow light, then I might add this orange transition. It's not really that visible because also it's not that harsh. You could add something there if it's like skin. And I also find that makes it a lot better. I don't think it'll look right now because it doesn't make sense. But the transition of light shadow, especially if it's hard, like soft one doesn't really happen that much. If this was a harder, like, it doesn't even look that bad, to be honest. Even though it's so soft it makes no sense, that's still not even that bad. So imagine if you had like a really hard transition, and then especially that's when it'd be the most effective. If I was doing it on a new layer, something like, if I had a lightened shadow, let me just draw it real quick. That was my light, that was my shadow. And then there's a good chance, especially if this was a yellow light as well. Then it could be pretty common to see something like orange transition here, and then it will make it look way better. So that's step 7 that I like to do, but depends on the drawing. Probably won't do it on this one, even though you saw it didn't even look that bad when you did it on that one. Okay, perfect. That's how I shade. 6 steps plus 1 bonus. There you go.